Welcome back, Cat 5 class. Today we're going to go over problem 3-17 using AutoCAD. So let's get started. Okay, so from AutoCAD, I'll go ahead and open up my file. Okay, and again, make sure you open your AutoCAD file from the extracted folder and not the zipped folder. Okay, so let's go on to problem 3-17. So there's a preview. And let's go ahead and open. All right, so let's take a look at the problem. All right, so we have our three incomplete views. We have our isometric view. So let's go ahead and open up the 3D model, the .3D.xml file using eDrawings. Okay, so file open. Okay, so again, make sure to open the one from the unzipped folder, the extracted folder. Okay, so problem 3-17.3dxml and open. Give it a few seconds to load. It's translating the data to something you can understand. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on the edges. Okay, before we move on to AutoCAD, let me point something out. These lines that you see here, these thin lines, that's where you go from a flat to a radius, right, to a cylindrical surface. So this is a tangent line that we can actually not see. Now, if you ever do decide to draw these tangent lines on a drawing, you don't want to make them the same thickness as the edge line weight. So remember, for object lines, we're using 0.50 to 0.60 millimeters in thickness. If you were to draw tangent lines, you got to make them thin, around half the thickness, around 0.30 millimeters. But typically, we do not draw these tangent lines. I'd say 99% of the time, you do not draw these tangent lines. There are some exceptions, of course. All right, so if I was to just go back to shaded, notice those tangent lines are gone. Okay, so I'm going to turn on shade with edges, and I'm going to ignore these tangent lines and also the one that you see here inside the hole. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our front view. Okay, so here's our front view. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw these object lines, and keep in mind any hidden lines also. So we don't see the hole if we're standing in front of the building. So again, imagine we're in front of the building. Imagine this is a 4-story tall building. Let's go back to front view. So obviously we cannot see that green hole, that circular hole. So we'll take care of that with hidden lines and a center line. All right, so let's go to AutoCAD. Okay, so as you can see, the front view is almost complete. We're just missing the hole, right? All right, let me go ahead and change these magenta color construction lines. You don't have to do this. Okay, actually, I should be going to layer properties. Let me click on layer properties. Give it a few seconds to load. Up, try it again. All right, so I'm going to change my construction lines. Again, these are temporary lines. Okay, so I'll change the color to yellow just so you guys can see it. All right, that's a lot better. And I'm going to change the thickness of my object lines just for lecture purposes, not because I'm following a standard. The American standards or international standards tell you to use a 0.50 to 0.60 millimeter line weight. But for the video and the lecture, I'll make it thicker. In 3, 2, 1, okay. You can see the line thickness change. All right, so all these line weights, when you go work for a company, they should already have a template already set up with the layers and the line thicknesses and the colors. I chose these colors, so later on, the second half of the semester, you'll be creating your own layers, your own colors, your own line types and line weights. All right. Now I'm going to make the hidden lines. I'll make them a little lighter red. Yeah, and okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Hit the little X. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so let's start by drawing the hidden lines. And we're just going to follow the quadrants of the whole, right? Okay, so let's go to the hidden line layer. Okay, so we're going to use the line command. By the way, another option, instead of having to click on the line icon, we can always go down here to the command line. We can type in line or just type in L. Okay, if you type in L, AutoCAD will recognize that you're trying to create a line, as you can see over here on the bottom right corner. L for line, right? So those of you that like shortcuts, there's other shortcuts also. I'll probably mention them later on. Okay, and enter. Okay, so from this quadrant, we're going to go straight down. And there's our first hidden line. Okay, and I'm going to hit escape. All right, so I'm going to show you a new command today that we haven't covered yet, and that is the copy command. Okay, before I use the copy command, let me first thicken the hidden lines. Make them a little bit thicker just so we can see them better on the video. So I'm going to go to the hidden layer, and I'll just make them thicker just so we can see them a lot better. Okay, a lot better, right? Okay, I'm going to show you the move command, but first let me shorten the red hidden line using the grips. I should have ortho on. I currently have ortho off. So ortho, that's to create vertical and horizontal lines. Okay, there it is. Hit escape to exit. So there's our first hidden line. All right, so instead of drawing a new hidden line, I'm going to make a copy of this one. Okay, so let's start a new command. So I'll pre-select it. Then I'm going to use the copy command. Okay, so here's the copy command. If you just hover over the icon, it'll give you a preview of what this command does. Okay, so we'll click copy. Now, since we had pre-selected the item, it's ready to go on to the next step, which is to move it. So we need to grab it from a point, from a midpoint, referred to as the handle. So I'm going to grab it from the top endpoint. There it is. Okay, and let me turn off ortho just so you can see. So obviously it's going to line up with the right quadrant of the hole, or the circular hole, right, in the top view. And we can click, but let me turn on ortho just to guarantee that it does line up correctly. As you can see, ortho only lets you go vertical or horizontal. And click. And by the way, you can keep on clicking. I'm just going to click for fun, some extra clicks. Let me pan a little bit. So hold the wheel to pan. So you can make as many copies as you want. Obviously, I don't need all these copies, but just to show, I can just keep on clicking to make more copies. And once you're done, you can hit escape or enter, or right click enter to exit the command. Okay. All right. So I didn't need all these extra copies, but just to show you that you can make multiple copies in one shot, but by just clicking. All right. So let me, I'm going to window capture. So I want to delete all these items, right? These extra items that I don't need. So I'm going to left mouse click. So I'm going to start from up here. I'm going to left mouse click and hold the left button. And I'm going to lasso around. Yep. Imagine you're a cowboy or a cowgirl and you're going to lasso the cattle, right? And now you can delete. You can hit delete on the keyboard or use the eraser. All right, let me hit undo to show you another way. So I'm going to hit undo. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work. Instead of using a lasso, I'm going to try and window rectangular capture. So if you double click and hold, so I double clicked on the left button on the mouse. I double clicked, but I held it. Okay, so if you prefer the window capture, the lasso takes a little while to get used to, but I know some of you prefer the window capture, but the lasso is also another way of doing this. It's also a cool way of doing it. So there it is, and we can also hit delete on the keyboard besides using the eraser. There it is, it's gone. All right, so let's go back. So anytime you see a circle, a semicircle, right, half circle, or anything in between, you definitely want to put your green center lines. So let's cheat and go look at the answer key. So let's go back to the PDF file. Okay, so again, I don't need for you to turn in the PDF file. If you decide to complete this by hand, you're not going to get any points for the PDF file. You're only going to get points for the AutoCAD file. All right, so let's cheat and go look at the solutions. Okay, so here are the solutions. Okay, so once again, anytime you see a circle, automatically green center line. And you also need to draw the axis. Okay, so we need to draw the axis of that circular hole. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that axis. So I'm going to go to green center line. Okay, so green center line layer. I'm going to use the line command. Again, you can also type in L in the command line. Type in L, enter. So just to guarantee I'm following the center of the hole, I'll start here from the top view and go straight down. Okay, so I want to extend beyond and make sure you have ortho on, right? You don't want to go off a little bit at a slight angle from the vertical. And I'll be able to tell, right, when I open your file, if it's slightly off, I will take points if your line looks something like what we're currently seeing. Okay, let me turn on ortho to guarantee a vertical or horizontal line and go beyond the object line. How much? Just guesstimate. If you just go a little bit, it doesn't look as clean. It's better to actually overextend than to just slightly extend. Okay, so you can always readjust it and click. Okay, so right click enter to exit, or enter on the keyboard, or escape on the keyboard. Now we can shorten it. Okay, so this is where we're going to struggle a little bit. I'm trying to go slightly above the wide visible object line, but it's trying to click here at the midpoint. It's trying to click here. So some of you are going to be struggling. Hey, I'm trying to click here and it's not. So if I click, watch what happens. It clicks and it goes to the nearest snap, right? And I didn't want that. I want to make it a little bit shorter. So this is where you want to turn off object snap. Currently it's on. You can tell it's blue. And again, if you don't see an icon that you're looking for in the status bar, you can always load it by going to the very last icon, click, and the ones with check marks are the ones that are loaded. All right, let's go back. Okay, so I'm going to turn off object snap so I can have freedom to move this endpoint. As you can see, it's not trying to snap to anything anymore. Okay, so there it is, and hit escape, and there's the axis of that circular hole. Okay, so once again, we were not able to see it from the front view, but we need to represent it with the green center line and the red hidden lines. All right, so I think we're done with the front view. Let's cheat, take a look at the answer key. There it is. Okay, let's go over to the top view. All right, so definitely we need the green center lines at the hole. And remember, you always want to extend beyond the object lines, okay? And the reason we extend the green center lines is so that we don't mix them up with red hidden lines. If you need to print this black and white, it's hard sometimes to distinguish between the two, between the hidden lines and the center lines. So as to not mix them up, we just slightly extend the green center lines. All right, so let's go back to AutoCAD. Okay, so we're going to draw the green center line. Since we're already in the green center layer, let's get it out of the way. Okay, so we are in the green center layer. And the last command we used was line command. So I'm just going to hit spacebar. See, it remembers the last command. Okay, so I'm trying to track the center point, but it's not. So let me go and turn on Object Snap. There it is. Actually, let me make sure I have everything on. I wanted to double check, make sure I don't have one of my favorite options here turned off. No, it looks like I got all of them on. Okay, so I digress. Let me go back, right? Okay, so make sure you're tracking the center. If you don't see this circular hole, the green circle, identifying the center of the hole or center of an arc, then right click on Object Snap and turn on the center option. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so I'm going to track away from the center. There it is, and track away. Go beyond the circle. And go beyond also on the other end. See how it's trying to snap back here? It's trying to go to the nearest snap. So if I click, I want you to notice that it snapped here, right? So let me hit escape or exit. So let me turn off Object Snap so I can have freedom to extend. Make sure you have ortho on, right? So to guarantee we stay horizontal. Okay, and there it is. And hit escape. All right, and just eyeball it. Now let's do the vertical. The green center lines are a little too thin. Let me make them thicker. Okay. Okay, now we can see them a lot better. All right, so now let's do the vertical one. Okay, so let's do the vertical green center line command. Once again, turn on Object Snap again. It may be a little frustrating at first having to go back and forth with Object Snap, but it's just part of the game. Okay, let me turn off Object Snap temporarily, back off so I can locate the second endpoint, and there it is, and hit escape. Now, those of you that end up turning in work with green center lines that are not extended, let's say you stop at the object line. Let's say you stop here. That is incorrect. Okay, so for this first assignment, right, if you were to turn this in like this, with the green center lines not extending beyond the white visible object lines, in this case a circle, I will point that out as a mistake. I'm not going to take points off on this assignment, on this handout. Okay. So I will not take points off if you forget to extend, but I will on the next handout. So next week, you'll get in about a week, we'll get our next handout for chapter 3. And I will start taking points off if you forget to extend your green center lines. Let me hit escape and hit undo so I can go back to the extended. And again, just eyeball it. When you extend, if you're not sure if to go short or long, it's better to go long than short on the extension. All right, so let's finish off the top view. Okay, so the top view. Let's take a look at the 3D model. Okay, so if we look at the top view, there it is. Okay, so we're missing some of the object lines, right? So we got the hole and the center line. Okay, so we need to draw the object lines. Again, do not draw the tangent lines. If you do choose to draw tangent lines, make them thin. Again, around 0.30. And the object lines are around 0.50, 0.60 millimeters in thickness. All right, so let's go ahead and draw these two features here. When you hear an engineer, a drafter, your boss refer to something as a feature, they're just talking about the details, right? It can be a hole. It can be a round corner like a fillet, right? So they're just referring to the details. All right, so let's go back to AutoCAD. Okay, so let's go ahead and complete the top view. Okay, so from this corner here, from the front view, we're going to draw a line straight up, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on Object Snap. And let's go to the wide visible object layer and use line command. And again, from this corner, we're going to go straight up, track, right? We're tracking. See that little white X? Or we can just simply use the yellow construction lines. Click and click, and there it is. Okay, and right click enter to exit. Okay, so that was pretty simple, right? Okay, now let's go to the next one. Okay, so always when there's missing geometry, lines, curves, circles, always look at the other views and just project across. Okay, so I got this corner. Okay, let's go on to the next corner or vertex. Okay, I'm missing this one. Go straight up. And you're also going to go across. As you can see, it's already there for the right side view. Okay, so things are supposed to line up. Always go to the vertices and then project. All right, so let's use a visible line. Right, so we're already in the visible object layer. Use line command once again. And from this corner, we're going to go straight up. Okay, and there it is. And click and right click enter. Okay, now some of you are saying, hey, that's too long. It's supposed to be shorter, right? And you are correct. Let's go back to the 3D model. Obviously, this object line is shorter than this one. Now, even though this is curving downward or away from us, this fillet, so this part is flat and then it curves away from us, and that's the fillet. Even though this is an arc, even though this edge here, I'm trying to click on the edge, even though this edge here is an arc, from the top view it's going to look like a straight line. So if we go back to top view, notice it looks like a straight line even though it's an arc. Okay, so we're going to draw, we already drew the line, we just need to remove this portion of it. Right, so let's go back. Okay, so how do we know where this line ends? Well, we simply go to the side view. Okay, so remember we're talking about the arc. That's the arc we were just talking about. So we're going to follow this line and this line, right? So from this tangent point of the arc to the line, we're going to go straight up, hit the 45, go across, and we know that we're supposed to remove this bottom portion. So the line goes from here to here, right? Again, we project upward, hit the 45, so this is the 45, and we go across. Okay, and just a reminder, how did I come up with that 45? Well, you start by, when you start doing your own construction lines, you start by drawing a rectangular box around each view before you start drawing. It's just easier when you draw a box. Then you draw a box for this one, right? Then from the corner of the front view box, okay, so this is the front view box. From this corner, you draw a 45. And then from the right side view, you go straight up, hit the 45, go across to then create this box, right? So from the right side view, once again, you go straight up, hit the 45 and across. So that guarantees everything is lining up. All right, so let's go ahead and shorten this object line, right? We're going to match the yellow construction lines. So let's go ahead and shorten it. And there it is, okay? And now we can hit escape. So once again, we're matching it up with these two construction lines from the right side view. And there it is. And now we have to now close this off. Okay, so let me hit escape to deselect. Let's go to visible layer, line command, and close it off. And right click enter to exit. Okay, and that's it. We're done with the top view. Okay, now let's finish off the right side view. Okay, so the right side view, let's cheat and take a look at the answer key. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's the right side view. So we have everything in the right side view except for the hole, right? So to create that hole, we're going to go from the top view. Okay, so for the center, we're going to go across, hit the 45, and straight down. Same thing with the red hidden lines. We're going to go to each quadrant, go across, hit the 45, and come straight down to locate the hole in the right side view. All right, so once again, we have, just like we have in the front view, we have a hidden hole that we cannot see from the right side view. Let's go to the 3D model. Okay, so let's take a look at the ISO view. Okay, so if you're standing in front and you go to the right of the building and look, you can imagine this is a 4-story building and you're a tiny person or a tiny element compared to the building. You're not going to be able to see the hole from the right side view nor the front view. Okay, so if we could look at the right side view, there it is. So we have all the object lines that we currently see in this view. We're just missing the hole. So there's that green fluorescent circular hole. Okay, so let's go back to right side view, and we're going to draw those. We're going to draw the hidden lines and center line to represent the hole. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so we're going to use these yellow construction lines to help us locate that hole into the right side view. But I've decided we're going to cheat. Instead of doing it the long way and having to locate the hole with respect to the top view and the 45, we can just copy the one from the left side view. Yes, we can just copy it over. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape to deselect. Okay, I'm going to select the red hidden line, green center line, red hidden line. I'm just going to copy it over. Right, it's the same hole, just we're looking at it from a different angle. All right, so let's go ahead and now let's use the copy command. Okay, so once again, copy command. So I pre-selected the 3 lines first, right? Then I hit copy. And I need to grab a handle, follow the instructions. Okay, so it's asking you, hey, grab it from a base point. Okay, so think of a handle. I'm going to grab it from here. So imagine a cup of coffee and you won't need to grab it from somewhere. Grab it from the handle. I'll pick this as my base point or handle point. Click. And let me turn off ortho so you can see. Turn off ortho. So you have freedom to move it. And we're going to move it right there, right? Okay, so let me turn on ortho. You can leave ortho off, but I just want to guarantee that it does translate it across horizontally. And there it is, and click. And you can keep clicking if you want to make more copies, but I'm done. So I'm just going to hit escape on the keyboard. And there it is. All right, so let me turn off my construction lines. I think I'm done. Turn off construction lines. Okay, so let's go ahead and save our work. If you want to put your name on this AutoCAD file, it's optional. Okay, let me double click on the wheel to do a zoom fit. Okay, so double click on name. You can left mouse, hold, and highlight to override it. You can type in your name. And to exit, you can simply click on in space and you exit the text box. All right, so let's go ahead and save it. So we're going to go File, Save As. So I want to keep the original problem 3-17. I want to keep the original copy, the incomplete copy. I'll just go to Save As. Okay, and add my initials and save it. And again, there's no due date. If you submit this early, you have till the end of the semester. But if you submit it anytime between now and then, I'll grade it. If you did not get a perfect score, you have a second chance, right, to fix your mistakes and resubmit and go for that perfect score. All right, so okay, so that's the end for problem 3-17. See you in the next video.